when we were drawing the moose, man, Austin was just like dead set on making sure that he had just these like large nipples that were just like, like 2 to 3 inches long. And I was just like, I'm drawing this moose for our company. And we're like, okay, it needs to be this like muscular moose and like
with titties.
Just like crazy jacked moose, right? Yeah. And then he's like,
with fat nipples.
He's like, he needs to have, like, you're not drawing his nipples. And I was like, there's something there. Like, it's fine. And he's like, no, they need to be, like, long. Like,
I give it up for Wyatt because he was able to stand his ground.
I stood my ground.
Yeah, he was like, their nipples aren't going on the moose.
He's like, and you know Austin, he's like, that's the line? That's the line you won't cross his nipples?
Nipple. Nipple. Spank. Nipple. Nipple.
Tool Shed Art Club.
We've got a man here from North Dakota.
Yeah, sure.
So is that where you're from?
I mean, kind of just both the Dakotas, North and South.
I wanted to ask.
How can you be from both?
I spent.
Don't lie to us. All right, we just started. You can't start off with you can't be at 2 states at the same time. So don't.
Unless you're on the border.
No, it was from like when I was in kindergarten to like 5th grade in North Dakota, and then from 5th grade till like graduation in South Dakota. So I feel like and I have a lot of family in North Dakota, so it was like going back up to North Dakota to visit a lot. So it's like I was in both quite a bit.
So you claimed the Dakotas.
I claimed the Dakotas.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, claim them both.
Yeah.
I've been to jail in South Dakota twice. It's for another time.
Have you actually been to jail in South Dakota?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, we do have to cover that another time. Before we even get into art stuff, though, I wanted to ask this because when I found out you're from the Dakotas, people always say, like with Nebraska, you know, oh, is there anything there? And obviously we have Omaha, we got the Cultural Series. There's a lot that's going on in Nebraska. Been through the Dakotas. I love the Dakotas. My last vacation was at Sioux Falls, right?
Okay.
So, but with that being said, when I think about the Dakotas, like I genuinely couldn't probably name another town or city there. What is it like being from there? What do they do? Is there do like bands stop there for tour? I mean, how does that all work? What's the big city there besides like the Sioux Falls?
I mean, I would joke being from the Dakotas that like nothing happens,
yeah,
but
okay.
things actually do happen. North Dakota, I would say Bismarck, North Dakota, state capital. There's a little bit going on there.
Fargo.
Oh yeah,
Grand Forks.
Is that book Fargo Rock City? I forgot about that.
Grand Forks, they have like good hockey team for their college, and I don't know how well they're doing now, but they used to be known for that. And then Dickinson is on the west side of North Dakota. But as far as like big things, there's not like, I don't know, there's a ton of little tourist trap things. You know, like they have in North Dakota, they have across the state, there's a couple different like big monumental things of like where I went to school at New Salem. Okay. They had a giant like plaster cow. It's like a huge, I don't know how.
The Palace of Corn is
like
in
fiberglass.
South Dakota.
Yeah.
Oh, that's in South Dakota? Yeah, okay.
That's in
Corn Palace.
Is it Mitchell?
Is that part of like a Pee Wee Herman thing too, where he does something in the Dakotas?
Pee Wee Herman's dead, bro.
Okay, but he still made a movie before he died. Was there a part in there, like when he's in that biker gang, was that supposed to be in, was that in Texas or was that supposed to be in the Dakotas?
I have a confession. Wait, did you both watch Pee Wee Herman?
No.
But you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you not?
No, I knew he was a creep before everyone else did. I saw the show and I go, that guy jerks off in public. That's what I said, and I never watched it again.
Yeah, but when I found out how he got arrested, I was like, this isn't as bad as I thought. He was at like a theater for that. So, I mean, what do they think's going on in there?
Yeah, at least he wasn't watching Dumbo.
Yeah, he wasn't just like...
I don't know that I actually heard what happened.
See, this is true. We got to explain things to Wyatt because he doesn't know any
I mentioned
culture.
that beforehand. I don't know people. I live under a rock. I'm from the Midwest.
So, yeah, the guy that played Pee Wee Herman on Pee Wee's Big Adventure, he got arrested because he went to like one of those like sex theaters and he got caught with his hands under his coat when he wasn't supposed to be, and got arrested for that. So they made him as like a big pervert. I mean, it wasn't like he was walking around New York just.
No, but Sam Kinison had a bit at the time. He goes, "This nasty little guy in a bow tie." He's like, This whole bit, man, he just drug him through it.
But so you never watched the movie or anything?
No, so is that we were going back to? Is there a part? I mean, I did, but not the whole thing.
Because there's like
never again.
I haven't seen it for a long time, but I know that he's in Texas for some of it. But then there's like, I just remember what you're talking about, where there's like the goofy stuff on the side of the road. Because it's like that. Do they have like dinosaur stuff too in the Dakota? I forget which state that is.
No.
If you know what I'm talking about, but
I mean, there was a dinosaur found in my hometown, like the world's largest.
Right. Oh
T-Rex.
yeah. That's awesome.
The world's largest?
Yeah, it was.
Do you think the bone? Like, did they find a bunch of bones or just one bone? Because I found out.
I think it was like the largest, like most complete, or like I don't know if that's 100%.
Did you know that?
Check me, but
that most bones in museums are plaster. There's
Yeah,
only
they,
like a few
rebuild them,
real bones, and then they're like, we think it looked like this. That's why T-Rex has short arms, because some guy was like, I bet his arms look like CeeLo Green's.
That's hilarious. So since we're all brothers in Christ here, what do you guys think about the there's Christians out there who think dinosaurs are fake, not real, that dinosaurs were created by scientists to disprove God? Have you ever heard that? Have you ever heard that?
I've not heard that.
I'm going to jump on board, though. I don't even need to research it. I'm on.
Well, you can attest to the dinosaurs, so I mean,
I mean, I wasn't there when they were discovering them. I just
Why
saw
did you
I saw
discover
the like they did a whole like display thing in our community center, so it's like totally could have been plaster.
what
I
if
have
he's
no
like
idea.
Forrest Gump? He's like accidentally discovers like dinosaur bones and just so many adventures along the way, and
He's the feather, bro.
Yeah.
He
So,
is.
Yeah, there's that, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
do you-
I get, like, dinosaurs are weird. I think that they picked the wrong colors. Like, they guessed the
Yeah.
wrong colors for them.
well, like they change it all the time. Like they used to have scales, and then they had feathers, and then it's like
It's a mess.
So there's a theory, and it's like the pre-Adam theory. You can find more about it online. I don't know a whole much about it, but there is a theory that basically when God cast Satan out of heaven, that Satan ruled on earth for a period of time, which is why we have things like dinosaurs or those weird looking skulls that are like elongated, that Satan basically had his own like world that he had created down here. That's just a theory. You're not going to lose your salvation believing in it or against it or whatever. But then there's also like in Job, there's a reference to a big lizard. So I mean, he used to say that dinosaurs weren't on the ark.
Are
and
we talking
just
about
died out. Who knows?
Leviathan?
Uh,
Leviathan?
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
That's one of the names. It's a big lizard.
Oh,
that swam
yeah.
in the ocean.
Yeah. No, I don't know a whole lot about it, but
I can't remember what the real name was because my dog's Levi, and we started calling him
Leviathan?
Leviathan, then Levatron. Like it came all these different names that my daughter made up, so now I can't.
It's like the first time.
his
jumbled.
name's Levi, and you built up on top of those things.
Yeah,
That's really
my
funny.
daughter and I.
The first sermon I ever preached was in Philippians, and I was like, Filipino, and then like when I was preaching it, all I could think about was Philippines the whole time because I made a joke about it. So I get what you're saying there with that. So, but you were about to say something though with North Dakota.
No, I was just circling back to that initial question.
Yeah.
So that's, I don't know, North Dakota, they have some interesting like road attractions because there's
Yeah.
nothing else to really go
Because
with
they
that.
just assume people are driving
Yeah,
through
it's
to get to where they
flat.
really want to go.
The Badlands are the next thing I would say is like going through North and South Dakota. Those are pretty sweet, just natural. But the other thing I was gonna say is like you have I like Western South Dakota because that's where I grew up.
Okay.
And there's a big rivalry between the east and west side of South Dakota because that's the
wow.
river like splits it. It's
Oh.
big as in
Interesting.
like if you're from East River, you know that it's like East River versus West River. But
Yeah.
anyways, West River, there's like the Black Hills.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
cool.
Oh, yeah.
Or like
Duh.
the Sturgis
Yeah.
Rally. That's
Yeah.
in that's
That's
Western South
by
Dakota.
Deadwood.
Yeah.
See,
It's,
that's where-
kind of around there. But that gets really big. I mean, like
Of course, yeah, duh. I can't believe I think about that.
so like they have some pretty big concerts. hosted
Yeah,
at that.
I actually went to Deadwood for our honeymoon. We went to Deadwood, then we went to Cody, Wyoming, and went
Nice.
to Yellowstone, which we haven't been able to go to for a couple of years. But I do love that area. I just love the United States as a terrain. I mean, the whole country's beautiful, and I never like I said, just being from Nebraska, I just know what it is for people to assume your state sucks just because it's not on, on a coast.
No,
so
for sure.
I don't mean any disrespect to the Dakotas because I love them. I'm just thinking about,
like what is there?
No, it's the same thing as like here where it's like we know that there's stuff to do here, but I just wouldn't know what there is to do in the Dakotas not being from there. So
no, that's fair. I mean, you generally go to those bigger cities, but otherwise it's just like farming and ranching out in the prairie and stuff.
And
but
so cold.
And it's generally pretty cold. I mean, a lot of ice fishing, sport, like hunting for sport and stuff. I mean,
it would get so cold that people would have to leave their vehicles on all through the night to make sure they would start in the morning. That's what one person told me.
I don't know about that, but you'll like plug vehicles in and like that kind of
so the batteries don't get messed up or whatever.
Yeah.
What about is it Red Cloud? Is that the reservation in South Dakota? Which is the one?
There's a few. I mean, you've got like Rosebud. Is that?
What I was thinking about Rosebud. I think Red Cloud's in Nebraska, but yeah, Rosebud. That's a rough one, right? Do you ever roll through?
I do not roll through Rosebud too often. Generally, like
I heard of Rosebud.
when I go back home. When I go back home, I like interstate's nice because there's a lot of stops.
Yeah.
So it's like gas and all that stuff. But if you go from Omaha to like Rapid City and you go up through the bad lanes and stuff, there's not a ton of places to stop. And then sometimes the stops can
be bad,
just be a
dude.
little rough.
Did you go to spend any time at Custer's Last Stand, Battle Little Bighorn?
No.
Do you know? You've never been there?
No.
Because I think that's in South Dakota or North Dakota, one of the Dakotas. If you're listening and you're getting annoyed by this, I'm sorry. Okay, I don't have my phone to double check this, but this is something that I'm interested in.
From the hip with all the
We're trying to, because Wyatt just, he knows, I think we've got, he's like, there's things on the side of the road.
Yeah, but no, I drove through a lot of Crow territory when we went and visited there, and there was no gas stations for like 3 hours. I'm thinking, geez, I'm glad I filled up before I went.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's like the desert.
That's definitely a thing. But like, yeah, I don't know. The Black Hills are really cool. If you you said you've been over in that area, they're really cool.
Yeah.
They have a really cool thing. I think it's every year called Hills Alive. It's like a big concert. It's almost like a festival, but it's a Christian
I've heard
thing.
of that.
And so like big names have come to that, and
you're right.
It's like a free concert over a few
people
days
from my church from our church.
What came first, the hills have eyes or the hills
Hills Alive?
Which one?
Definitely Hills have eyes. I feel like I don't know. If Hills
I
Alive
feel
has been
like
around
the
that
Christians definitely were like, the hills have eyes. Let's do the hills alive.
long.
I'm glad you said that because every time that I hear that name, I do think about that, like the cover of that movie. So that's funny that triggered that for you too. So
I've never even seen that movie and it terrifies me.
Maybe you should watch the movie before you get scared.
I can't. The cover. Ooh, I just get the shivers.
So you got you've got some background in graphic design. You've made some animations, cartoons, stuff like that. Growing up, were you? What was your favorite cartoon? Did you watch a lot of cartoons or?
Oh man. Favorite cartoon growing up? Yeah, I mean, I've definitely watched cartoons growing up. I didn't. I was the fourth of 5 kids, so like I didn't really get to choose a ton of what we were watching. but man, I mean, we had some of the classics. Like,
what was your favorite cartoon that you were forced to watch?
Favorite cartoon I was forced to watch? Oh man.
Or least favorite? Maybe it'd be.
Well, I remember. I don't know. It's like there's just. I'm trying to think of like different time frames. You know, like I liked the original Teen Titans. My brother's like that, so I'd watch that.
Yeah, that was cool.
I was a little late for like. I know it's not cartoons, but I'm thinking like I just randomly saw this the other day. Of like Power Rangers. I was a little late on that train where it's like I think I had a Power Ranger toy,
dude,
but like I didn't get to watch a ton of that.
Let me tell you something about Power Rangers. That came out when I was in 5th grade.
Yeah.
Okay? My yearbook from 5th grade, everyone signed Go Go Power Rangers.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But then they revamped it and stuff. But I always hated that show. I was Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
That's kind of where we were. we would actually pretend we were watching Captain America. And then our parents, wherever we were at, they would like walk by and leave, and then we'd switch to Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And I never even like understood anything that was going on. But my friends thought it was
like
cool.
way over your head every single time, like all the jokes and
but
everything.
there was one thing that we watched religiously, and that was The Simpsons.
Yeah,
That was every
felt like-
Thursday. I'd ride my bike over to my buddy Matt's house, and we would just watch The Simpsons and laugh harder than we've ever laughed.
See, my mom, I think my mom liked The Simpsons, but my dad was kind of against it. So I think my mom thought it was like The Simpsons would make her laugh, so she was kind of okay with it. But my dad wasn't cool with it. Were you allowed to watch The Simpsons growing up? Do you remember?
Probably not, but I don't ever remember it really being on too much. So like I didn't really have the opportunity to
So
watch a lot of it.
what comedy cartoons did you watch?
I'm trying to think, like, I don't know. So during the day, it's like, okay, I'm just trying to think of cartoons. When I was watching cartoons, it's like you would come home from school and then there'd just be like some after school stuff on. And then later, like, dad was probably watching TV. So it's like, then you're watching like Survivor. Or, you know what I mean? And it's like,
Did you have to do a lot of? Did you have? Because you said you kind of grew up on a ranch, right?
Naked and afraid.
mostly, yeah.
That was before then.
It was, yeah, when I moved from North Dakota to South Dakota is when we moved on to our ranch. So it was like, I think I started 5th grade in Faith. So.
Okay, so did you have to do like a lot of chores and stuff like that?
Yeah,
around.
yeah, for sure.
Did you you guys didn't have dairy cows, did you?
No, we were a ranch, so
So
all
you
we
didn't have
did
to get
was
up at 3 a.m. to go milk anything. So
No.
that's nice.
we did during calving season though. So
Okay.
like you have to get up pretty early to you like every it depends where you're at, but every like hour 2 hours you go check your cows so to make sure they're not dying while they're having calves. But
Yeah.
And pull them out?
yeah, if you had to.
Just gotta reach
Yeah.
in there and pull.
Generally,
it out.
you're doing it with like your younger cows. Like generally, your older cows are okay, but like
Because they're just been so
seasoned.
seasoned. That's what we're going to call it. Is that what they call it on the ranch?
I don't
The
feel like
seasoned old.
when I said it,
The,
it
the
didn't
seasoned
seem,
old milk.
when I said it, it didn't seem too out of place. But then, like thinking about it more, it seemed.
Oh my gosh! It wouldn't even be MILF; it would be milk, but with the C.
Yeah.
Milk.
Yeah. No, you're.
Seasoned.
So I don't know. I'm just trying to think like other. I don't know. To answer your like initial question, I guess I wasn't like too influenced with art based on those things. I was more influenced because my dad was an artist.
Oh,
and
okay.
My older brother also like then wanted to be an artist because of my dad, and then I wanted to because of them. So like.
So what did your dad do?
He did graphic design as well for a bit. He also,
Okay.
I think, he had his own business, and then he also was a cement truck driver. So like he just did some labor jobs until we moved down to the ranch, and then he ran the ranch full time. But
Oh wow, did he still do graphic design on the side or anything? Then?
yeah, he ended up kind of towards the end of when I was like graduating high school. He started. There was an opportunity in our small town. I mean, like it's kind of hard to get and keep business when there's like no close town, but like our town population was 280.
Okay.
So like, but eventually it became more and more like relevant, and so there was this shop in town that made a lot of T-shirts for our like home team town and stuff. So
Okay,
like,
yeah.
he helped a lot with those graphics.
Oh, nice,
and
nice.
Like got into the T-shirt stuff, but
Okay, that's cool.
so yeah, he did that, and then I mean he was also like pretty good at illustrating and stuff.
So how did you end up in Nebraska then?
My wife got a job down here. So I was going to school in Rapid City at an engineering tech, and that's where I met my wife.
Okay.
And then she graduated, and I dropped out.
Nice.
Because she became an engineer. He's like,
Yeah. I was like, okay, well, I got a girlfriend out of this. so
Sugar
that's good.
mama, take care. I'm gonna draw things.
Yeah, so she graduated, and then we moved down here. We just kind of followed her job, and then that was 6 years ago.
Cool.
So I've been here for a little bit.
And then you worked at Menards, went to school, and
Yeah, I
then you
was
wound
going
up here at
I was going
Moose
to
Roofing.
school
We're in Moose Roofing Studios, by the way.
Yeah. Shout out Moose Roofing. I don't know if we want to sponsor this or not. I don't know if they want to like plug Austin saying milk.
They do.
Yeah, we may have to cut, I was thinking about that.
They do.
Yeah, we may have to cut that out, especially the Pee Wee Herman thing. But if we're not gonna plug them, then we can get even more filthy. I
No,
guess, if
yeah,
we're
Oh,
not.
jeez. Pat, are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, for real.
We're fine.
Yeah, we're fine. I'm just
Yeah, I
playing
can pull that
anyways.
up.
But yeah, no, it's good. I've been here for a little over 3 years now. So
So what? So was your dad your biggest inspiration then, as far as art stuff goes? I mean,
I've always liked, like, I would say that's probably why I started getting into it, and then I think there's my own, like, desire and, like, draw to get better.
yeah,
No pun intended. Like, I just wanted to,
Oh, it would be Kilf, by the way. Dang it.
kill. So you,
I got the
so, like,
dyslexia.
I always, like, was the kid in class who was, like, drawing and stuff, and, like, I got, like, really big into flames.
yeah,
7th and 8th grade.
You know
like,
that
I was the kid that they would be like, "Why can you draw flames on this?" And I'd be like, "I got you." Like,
Wyatt drew the flame originally that we use in
Oh,
Tool
for our logo?
Yeah, Tool Shed
Yeah.
Art Club. That was something that when we worked together,
Which
I
is
had him
like-
draw.
so full circle, because, like, as
Yeah.
soon as I was out of 8th grade, like, I was like, okay, I gotta stop being like the flame guy.
you knew
like,
you had to diversify your
I was
resume
like,
in
I
8th
have
grade.
to
You're
start
like,
drawing some other things.
so then you started drawing that like S5 thing that people used to always draw in
yeah.
school.
Yeah.
That's really funny that you were the flame guy. So
Yeah.
what? So you do? I mean, you do like cartoon animation stuff like that. How did you get into that?
That kind of was just spawned of.
I made
Austin.
I made him learn it.
Okay.
I like, so I had, like, my background in illustrating and, like, graphic design and stuff. So we were just kind of pushing the limits and, like, creating some pretty out there stuff at Moose here, which was awesome and super fun. And I definitely miss some of those things. But Austin just, yeah, I can't remember exactly how that all happened. We were just like, you're like, I don't know if I drew something, and you're like, we need to make that into an animation. And then we made the first, like, little short clip of the Moose Man.
Yeah.
And, like, an attic.
It started as like a comic strip, and then I always
that's
like
right.
my
Yeah.
dream when I was a kid. I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be like Calvin and Hobbes was my inspiration.
Yeah.
But I
forgot
only
where
but I
this
only
comes
got like I only got so good,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew that like I had limited potential in that field, you know. So
from.
I
Yeah,
kind
like,
of
it
was
would
like,
take you a lot of effort to get.
yeah, so I'm like,
That-
all right, this is very, very difficult for me. So
Yeah.
then when, you know, anyone that can draw, I'm like, oh yeah, draw me
Yeah,
this.
he jumped on
Draw
that
me
as
this
soon
or
as he
whatever.
could.
So then I'm like, we use Adobe. And I'm like, have you ever checked out Adobe Animate? Let's make some cartoons.
Yeah.
So I
So
just
that's
was
what I
like, you
did. I
need to
never-
learn this.
I never dabbled with it before, but I've always liked the idea of animation. Like, I almost went into, like, game design out of high school and stuff, and then my science teacher told me I was good at physics, and I was like, she's like, you should go into engineering. And I was like,
So when your
Cool.
science teacher told that like your grades didn't reflect it, like you were failing, but your teacher was like, you are really good at physics,
you
even though
really
you're
understand
failing this
physics.
class.
I know you have a D right now, but, like, I can tell you understand physics. The hard thing is like, I might have been passing in science, but I probably had, like, a D or C in math. But,
Okay,
like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't really try too hard at math,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's ultimately why I didn't really, like, finish engineering. Is I didn't really try too hard at the math part. I probably could have got it figured out, but I just
Yeah, so it was like me
Didn't care
with
hard
the
enough.
drawing.
yeah. Like, if you were persistent,
Yeah.
I like to think that, like, anybody and everybody can draw. Like, there's nothing special about, but it's your, like, ability to pick it up.
I
Pick it
struggle
up
with it.
and
I'm
see
not-
depths and
There's-
stuff. That
yeah.
was like my whole thing, is being able to just layer it basically.
I can't draw very well.
Yeah. I would say that, like, it's just like any other skill. It's about how much time and effort you put towards it. But, like, it also helps if you start that skill when you're young and you're
Yeah.
like developing those things at a young age instead of just stopping at stick figures. Like,
Yeah.
so I've been drawing since I was like 5 or 6, obviously, because you're
Yeah.
doing, like, crayons and stuff. But, like,
Yeah.
I would say I picked it up more seriously once I
Yeah.
got into
So
middle school.
like when you were a kid, when you were at home, instead of like playing with an action figure, you would maybe draw. Would that be?
no, I was definitely playing Legos for
okay.
sure.
Okay.
I would, like, it wasn't until middle school that I started, like, deciding to draw more.
So how much time? How much of your free time when you were, in middle school or whatever, when you get home, would you spend? I'm just curious of how it works, because I feel like I drew a lot as a kid, but still don't really have much to show for it as an adult. I don't know when the last time I've really tried to draw something seriously. So I'm curious as to, when you're in middle school, high school, you're home from school, you got free time. Were you drawing a lot then?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely times that, like, I wouldn't even say I like had that much practice in it. I think the difference was whether or not I think something you said, taking it seriously. And then also it helped a lot that I had like my brother and my dad to point to a lot, where if I was drawing something, I'd just be like, okay, what's wrong with this or whatever. And then a lot of times too, they would suggest things for me to draw or something like that. But
yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, it wasn't like, I don't have just like sketchbooks and sketchbooks. I think there's some artists that are like that.
Yeah.
But even as an adult, I have a hard time doing that, and I still like draw quite a bit. But it's like maybe once a week and or every other week, I just like find the time or inspiration.
You probably drew the most when we worked together.
Yeah, I mean, for a while for sure. Yeah, because we did a lot of that animating and sketching and stuff. So like that was
and all me making you draw the Herbie Husker. That I ended up getting a cease and desist.
Yeah, what's the story with that? How'd you get that? How did that happen? Tell me that story.
I had, I think that they changed it.
Well,
because people said that this, instead of being like, okay, now means white power, kill all
I did
ethnic
not
people.
know that.
Yeah, it's really
it
stupid.
sort of as like a joke of like, let's do this so that way people think that it means something when it doesn't, and then people were like, it means something, and so then it became a joke, but then it became serious because then people were doing it, and it's stupid. It's just stupid.
Well, to backtrack just a little bit further though, behind Herbie Husker. So we were doing the animations and stuff, and then Austin and I had this brilliant $1 million idea, which I'm sure you'd still be on board for wanting to do, but he's like, we just got to start making stickers.
Yeah.
Like, we got to do stickers.
That's what the S stands for in that flame.
Yeah.
Was our...
it was fire stickers.
Sticker fire? Fire stickers?
That was not the name. But it was...
Straight fire stickers.
Straight fire stickers. Yeah, that's what it is. So we were like...
stickers. He
had a bunch of these things he wanted me to draw. And then so like even his son had some prompts that he's like, hey, can you draw this? So I would draw these things, and then we're like, dude, this would be a funny sticker. Like, we made a sheeple. We made like that old man.
Yeah.
The tortoise with the glasses on it. And then Austin's like, I need you to draw Herbie the Husker, but I need you to put a joint between his fingers. And then he's like, and you need his eyes to be red. And
yeah, so he's like Herbie Husker just blazed out. Okay,
I'm just like, okay,
dude,
I guess we'll see how this goes. This is your thing. I'm just drawing.
So you got a cease and desist from the Huskers for a stoned Herbie Husker?
Well, yeah, dude, because I started selling. You
put everything on your T-shirts when you went to your stand-up.
Dude,
bits.
I didn't. We changed it just enough because I was like, if we change it just enough, you can't get sued. Well, apparently, once I got deeper into the laws after I got the cease and desist, it's still like if it resembles its likeness, like if people know that that's what it is. So like the N what came down to a point, and there were some other differences, but where I probably messed up is that I targeted ads in Lincoln on Facebook. For like a month or whatever, and then so I get this cease and desist in the mail from them, and it's this whole packet, and it's like all this, and then it has pictures of all my merchandise, like the stickers, the T-shirts.
Well, they did their research on you.
Yeah, and what I love is that they were probably sitting in a boardroom, all having a discussion about this stoned Herbie Husker, and they're like, we have to put an end to this. So then I had to send them a spreadsheet of like how much I sold or whatever, and it was nothing like
too crazy.
Yeah, so they were pennies compared to the Huskers. So.
Yeah, we should have probably like altered him quite a bit more, because I think we even had the N on his chest. It's like we probably could have went. We could probably went without the N on his chest at least. Like one major,
just like the red overall. He's just a blonde guy with red overall.
Now I think it's up for grabs. I mean, if the Huskers, if you think it's racist, I will take it. I will take that.
Husker.
Yeah, I'll take the old Husker.
They're not wanting to use it, so I guess
they don't want it.
Yeah, so that's kind of how that.
No one even wanted them to change it. They were
about.
like, they'll come after us.
Yeah.
Just like the Mutual of Omaha thing. Which I'm upset about, because my wife's grandpa is the one who drew the Indian.
What happened?
We need Billy Two Guns to bring back after he gets the Redskins brought back. This is a whole side thing, but it'll make sense one day when people watch these episodes. Then after that, we got to bring back the Indian at Mutual of Omaha.
Okay.
So
I didn't realize that they took it down.
they did. They changed it with a lion because they didn't
Oh,
want
yeah.
people to say that they were. No one even said anything, and they're like, switch it out. So
Yeah, but
they-
like the Native American, like the
Did they start
headdress,
that
that's so
company, or,
badass
like-
though. Why would you not want that as your logo or to see it? Like if
that
I
was,
was a full-blooded Native, I would want.
like Billy Two Guns.
Yeah.
Billy Two Guns he's him and his organization of Native Americans are working
Like,
to bring back the
advocating for it.
Redskins and stuff because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, take that away, it's racist, but you're like wiping like American
was-
Indian history off. Like my wife's grandfather loved American Indians.
Yeah,
I
that
mean
was-
that Indian painting that's in the corner of my basement that you can see in
Oh,
these
yeah, yeah.
podcasts. Like that's from him and my
Dude,
wife's grandma's collection.
everybody likes to talk about Native Americans. If you bring it up to anybody or start telling them stories, they're going to be fascinated,
Yeah.
right? Like who's like, oh, that doesn't interest me at all. That bores me. Nobody ever says that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Shout out to the natives. Did you have a lot of them in the Dakotas?
It's a great cutaway.
Did you have
A lot of them in the Dakotas.
Yeah,
Hey,
man.
answer the question. Did you or did you not have a lot of natives in the Dakotas?
Was there Native
man, they had-
Americans in the Dakotas? Yes.
Yeah, they had-
definitely.
Yeah.
There's
They had Red
Native
Cloud.
Americans. I Faith, my hometown,
Rosemont.
like we were I think we were only like 5 or 10 miles away from the edge of the reservation.
Nice. Okay.
But
Maybe not nice. Just depends on the reservation. I was I sold Budweiser, so I was I had what would be considered maybe the native route. I was
okay.
yeah a lot
Like
of
the first route or just
no yeah
Just
no.
drop off pallets of Budweiser on the side of the road.
No, I had I was where the natives
so
are at in
bad.
Nebraska is where I spent a lot of time. So
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
gotta learn a lot about their culture and stuff. So
Yeah. No, I mean
so if I'm not being a smart ass when I say shout out to the Native Americans, I mean it. So
yeah, no, I mean
Yeah, Billy Two Guns,
you
coolest
yeah,
name ever.
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. So yeah.
So you guys, so yeah, that cease and desist thing. It's a funny story. Now you were also telling me that you guys, you went on a road trip and you stayed in a weird wagon in Utah. You should tell me that story too.
Yeah, that was
Well, I'll let Wyatt take the reins on that one.
yeah, so we had to take a road trip to Utah and Austin decided that we needed to drive. I think it was your decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
so
I was feeling that. I was feeling that Legends
He's
of the
like-
Fall, buddy.
I need to drive and I was like
Yeah.
I didn't have a choice but to go with them on this long drive. So it was like what was the total on that? Like a 13 or 14-hour drive? Like, or it can't.
Dude, it was probably longer than that. Salt
Total,
Lake,
it was-
Salt Lake City from here. All right, you keep telling the story. I'm gonna look it
I
up.
feel like it had to been like 14 hours total because of the route we took specifically as well. So like we were driving through Nebraska and then we ended up going into
yeah, it was like 13
Boulder.
hours.
13 total
Yeah,
with going through Boulder.
yeah. Is that where we went, or did we
Yeah.
just drive?
No, we
I don't
drove through
remember where
Boulder.
that was. Okay.
Yeah, because we had to like dip down, I think, right? We had to go south a little
Dip,
bit.
dip.
Dip down.
I don't know. I think Boulder is
Do I have an
north.
accent?
I don't.
No,
You do.
I was.
Yeah, dude, hold on. You do have an accent, but it's okay. It's not. It's nothing crazy. People say that I have an accent. It just
All right,
depends.
Yeah, that's fine. I
Think
know
about
I
it.
have an accent. I say bag. Like I'm a hard like E on
Yeah.
everything that's like bag. Like,
Yeah.
but anyways, so yeah,
Boulder, I think, is north of Denver.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I'm
It
so
was
bad
somewhere.
at geography. So anyways, we went to Boulder. We definitely went like a little ways out of our route to end up in Boulder. But Austin's like, there's this super cool place. It's like a creek, and it's a natural hot spring, and we have to go. And I was like, okay, dope. That sounds great. And like, I think it was on the way. I was asking about
was-
like
it was
our
winter.
stay. It's yeah. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. It was middle of winter, and I think the roads and stuff were fine. Like we hit a little bit of snow, but when we got there, I think I asked about them on the drive or something, but Austin told me about where we were staying.
Yeah.
And the only place that we could stay next to these hot springs was in these covered wagons. And not like a big wagon. Like, it's like what you're thinking of when you think of a covered wagon.
Yeah.
But they, instead of like covered with like a tarp or something, it was like fully boarded in, and it was like a little cabin.
Yeah.
But it was essentially 2 benches, and then the middle floor in between them, and a
Nice.
tiny little window. Or I think there's 2 windows because we had.
Yeah.
Was it
funny
bone-chilling
laughs,
cold,
but,
or was it any warmth at
It
all?
did get pretty cold. I fared better than Austin did.
You
I
guys,
remember
Yeah.
that.
you guys have to sleep
I
butts to
forget.
nuts.
What did I forget? There was something in the truck where, like, if I would have just got up and went and got it,
I can remember.
I would have been okay.
Did you not sleep with like? Because I'm trying to remember what we even.
Or, like,
we
I
had
coulda
like
had a
sleeping
coat.
bags.
Yeah.
And we were like bundled up in our hoodies and jackets and all that stuff, and it got down to like, dude, I don't even know. It was like it
Yeah. So it was.
got down to cold is what it got down to. Like, it was.
But it had this amazing hot springs.
Oh,
that
the
you
hot
could have
springs
24 hours
so
to.
awesome.
So we
Like,
got to swim in it, and there was other people there and everything, and then we had to go back to our little wagon, which everyone probably thought that like you called me daddy or something
Yeah.
because everybody was on a romantic trip.
I was gonna say
yeah, it
all
was
these
all
heteros, all these heterosexual couples, and they saw you and they're like, "There's a couple of nice,
Austin and I.
very clean gay gentlemen there."
It was,
In the
yeah.
covered wagon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like
It was awesome though.
it was.
We made a small documentary.
such a great memory. It was so worth it. But the thing that was funny too is like our, like we were saying, it was the middle of winter, and the springs were awesome. But then you had to like run. I mean, it was a few hundred meters like over to our cabin, and we had like no preparations. I don't think we had any flip flops or anything. So like we were barefooting it. And did we even have towels?
Well, no, they had like a changing area, so we got to take like a shower.
Oh, that's
And it was a
above
nice
our
facility,
cabin.
yeah.
Above our cabin. But I mean, from our cabin
Yeah.
to the hot springs, you had to like run barefoot, and I don't.
It was a
think
long walk.
I don't think we had more than just like a small towel or something, and
Yeah.
it was quite brutal. But it was super worth it, and it was a lot of fun, and like it was kind of one of those things where you're down there for a while, and you're just like, bro, I gotta go so bad. You're just like, hold it longer, and then it's like finally you're like, okay, so like I'm gonna make the sprint, and you ran all the way up to the bathrooms, and then you'd run all the way back. But it was like, as soon as you got back, it was so worth it. Like you
Yeah.
get back to your core temperature would raise up and all that. But like that run, oh man, it was brutal.
How long
And
were you guys there?
just a night? But I mean, we stayed up probably. I don't think we stayed up like crazy late. I mean,
Yeah.
like 1 or 2 in the morning, probably the latest. But like,
It was probably like 10
Yeah,
because it was so cold.
9 o'clock.
no, yeah, you're probably right.
It
It probably
was.
felt like 2 in the morning, but it was
Yeah.
like it was probably only like 10. But yeah, it was a trip.
That place was amazing. I'm not even going to tell people what the name of it is because I don't want anyone to know.
No, it was super cool. I mean, I did already out
Actually, I
the
rem-
location of where.
Did
we
you?
were.
I
said
don't even remember
Boulder.
what it was called.
Well, I just said that we were in Boulder,
Yeah.
so I mean, there's probably not like a ton of hot springs.
Where you can stay the night. But there are cabins there that have air conditioning.
If
and
you
heat.
went, I don't know. I feel like I would go during the fall. That'd
Yeah.
be prime because you wouldn't. I don't think you would want to spend a summer night in that either.
The mountains get nice and cool.
Yeah, I suppose they probably do, but I don't know. It was an adventure to say the least, but and just
Yeah,
not
and shout out to Moose
necessary,
Roofing.
but
For I was like, it'll be cheaper because they're like, you can just fly out there. I'm like, it'll be cheaper if we drive
yeah,
because the tickets were expensive,
yeah,
and then that's how we got.
and
we
it
were
was
able to-
cheaper
Yeah,
even with our stay in these cabins, which I don't at that time of year I doubt was probably that expensive either. But
yeah. No, it was like $70.
yeah, we got like the last cabin too, and there's only like 10 of them. But a lot, like most people that were smart were living nearby and or just left. But no,
Yeah.
yeah, we were just gonna go up to our cabin and warm up and then do a podcast.
Yeah,
before
we were
went to
talking.
bed.
We were talking to people, and they were like, "Yeah, we recorded that."
Oh yeah, I know we have that podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's at.
Why
to
it
be honest.
doesn't? I think that's the only time you smoked weed. We don't have to put this in there.
Oh,
Just
you
saying,
what?
we don't have to put in about how you. That was like the only time you smoked weed. I think.
No,
More one of the only.
that
times.
was
He
like
doesn't
one of the
smoke.
few
Yeah.
times I've smoked weed. Yeah, for sure. I've
You got weed in while you were up there?
Yeah.
oh for sure.
It's
Yeah, we
legal.
like definitely smoked while we were there. That was
Oh, it's legal up there?
In Colorado.
and
Yeah.
then we
Oh,
smoked,
it was in. I thought you.
and
I
then
thought
we
it was in
shared
Utah.
gummies.
Yeah.
And then that was the rest of the night was just us in the hot springs staring at things.
Just two
It was
gay,
like-
two
No,
gay
there
stone.
was. we were talking to people in the pool or whatever, and they're like, cool, like, what do you guys, we're like, we're staying in that wagon. And there's like couple, we're like,
oh,
okay, cool.
I would say though, like,
gay men love to smoke weed, I guess.
It was like a pretty cool place to do that though, because like at night
to
it
be
got
gay
really
or to
steamy,
smoke weed,
both. But it got like, because of the hot springs and the cold air, there was this like really cool steam that came off the water, and then like there was like a far light off of the building, so like it kind of lit up the area enough you could move around, but like I don't know, it was just pretty cool. It was quite the experience.
And I had a mustache then too.
Oh, quite a mustache. It did not help our like persona of trying to be too straight.
You were the bear and he was the otter.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and I had to give him piggyback rides from the hot spring to the wagon. Like, hop on, yeah. And then the couple's like, why does he spank his ass when he rides away?
Oh, that's
the only way you knew how to go.
That is.
Yeah. No, that was something for sure.
That's the art challenge.
What other artistic endeavors did you want to cover then on this one? Because you said that you had some funny stories that you were wanting to cover. Was there other stuff?
I mean,
too?
there was that, the cease and desist, the moose roofing, the moose man.
I will say too, like leaning into you having me draw things, like Austin was pretty notorious for like trying to get me to draw things that like I was like, no, like I have some morals or like some of my own grounding to where I was like, no, like when we were drawing the Moose Man, Austin was just like dead set on making sure that he had just these like large nipples that were just like, like 2 to 3 inches long. And I was just like, I'm drawing this moose for our company. And we're like, okay, it needs to be this like muscular moose and like
with titties,
just like crazy jacked moose. Right.
Yeah.
And then he's like, but
with fat nipples.
He's like, he needs to have, like, you're not drawing his nipples. And I was like, there's something there. Like, it's fine. And he's like, no,
And
they
I
need to
give
be,
it-
like, long. Like,
I give it up for Wyatt because he was able to stand his ground.
I stood my
Yeah,
ground.
he was
I was
like,
like-
their nipples aren't going on the moose.
he's like, and you know, Austin, he's like, that's the line. That's the line you won't cross his nipples. And I was just like,
yeah.
I'm like, at my job where I'm drawing a moose for an animated cartoon, yes, that's the line I'm not crossing. And then there's some other thing, I don't know.
Moose
the
nipples.
testacuzzi, we didn't talk about the testacuzzi.
Yeah, the
that was a whole
testacuzzi.
different. Oh man, Gabe had, I don't even remember
Dude,
the
it was,
plug.
I don't
how
know,
did that
like
all
he
happen?
ended up talking with them or something. They wanted him to write an article, and then he was like, I can't write an article. So I wrote some articles for him, and then I was like, let's make a cartoon and sell it to him.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
they didn't want to pay what I wanted. So I was like, fine.
I'm not too surprised that
I'm
they
like-
didn't want to buy that, but
I'm not giving it to him, but it was so outrageous.
it was quite
We
the
have
fun time.
The
making
bear
that, though.
skin rug.
Yeah, we
And
made
it-
like a nice study.
Oh, I saw it. Yeah, I've seen
and
it.
then the
Yeah.
old man and Austin voiced him. The testacuzzi.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was some solid work. Do you still make any cartoons or anything, or any animation at all?
No, I don't in like that regard.
No,
I still
testacles,
draw.
yeah.
I still draw and stuff. Like, I started playing D&D with my brothers. Like,
Okay.
none of us have ever played it, but one of my older brother's roommates, he like is the DM or the GM. I can't remember which one it is for what we play. But anyways, he got me and my brothers to play. So the three of us like always grew up gaming from like when we were kids playing like the Super Nintendo, and I got the third controller that was unplugged
Yeah,
to like
yeah.
us now playing D&D together. It's super fun as adults just gaming together. But anyways, I drew like my own artwork for my character and like stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of fun just because it's like, oh, something to draw, I guess. But and then anytime it's relevant to my job, I still will make stuff. But
Yeah, you're going to make a lot of stuff soon.
yeah, did you see
For
the
us.
For you guys?
Once we pinch you.
bring me on as your resident artist?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I can do that on the side.
That's there's a podcast, Drinking Bros, and on their logo, they told their graphic designer, because their logo is like a beer mug, and he was like, sneak in as many penises as you can into this beer mug. And I was like, what? And then I was listening to this podcast for like a year. Never noticed it till they said something. Then I looked at the mug, and like they made it so like the foam was like
It's
that.
like,
So that's like the
had
kind
it,
of stuff
yeah.
that Austin probably would,
Oh,
would
100%.
put.
Except it when it, yeah,
His
that,
antics.
I was
yeah.
gonna try to refute that.
Yeah,
I
but
will
like
just
not be
cave.
subtle and
Yeah.
just flat out.
Yeah,
put-
the flat out. Well, think about when the Moose Man. The one thing that we did have him do is he rips off his
His like his,
former moose body.
yeah.
And
Oh
to
my gosh.
reveal, like, he became the Moose Man, but just imagine if that reveal, if then when he pulled, those nipples just flopped out.
I keep thinking of the song Spoon Man, but Moose Man by Soundgarden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will still say that like that little scene is probably one of the like more favorite things I've done. Like
Dude,
it's so funny.
a fat
The
Steven
fat
Seagal was
Steven
the bad
Seagal
guy.
was
I've seen,
amazing.
yeah, I've
You've seen
seen,
that one? Yeah.
yeah.
And the
I love those.
like guy and how dramatic it was. Like that's something that I really did enjoy though. Like I know I was kind of giving you a hard time about like needing to stand my ground and stuff when you were telling me to animate stuff, but we made some like really funny, fun stuff.
Yeah.
And it was such a blast like doing that stuff. Like I don't know, just looking back and watching that video, I still just get a laugh. Or we didn't talk about it at all. Like we would make some like internal videos
Yeah.
at Moose, so it wasn't always animating or drawing, but like I learned a lot about videography through Austin and about like sound engineering and stuff. But if you could call it that, I guess it's just balancing your vocals. But
Mainly an audition.
Your audio,
That's
but-
that's where the
in
magic's
audition,
made.
yeah, for sure. But anyways, I just watched, and I wanted to bring up. Do you remember when we made a transit cutaway? I wanted to show it to you earlier, but
Oh.
I forgot. We did our, we had our news channel,
Yeah.
and in one of the clips, so it starts with a news channel thing. We do like some updates on Moose and what's happening, and then at the end we had in between two shingles.
Yeah. Which was
It was in
which is
between two
Zach's
shingles.
idea.
It was in between two shingle samples.
Yeah.
But anyways, and we'd interview people within the company, and then in the middle we wanted to make a commercial, so we made a transit commercial. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
for the van.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember that commercial?
Yeah, dude.
I rewatched that. That's so funny. It's like, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 seconds long, but it is.
Yeah.
It's just like cheesy automotive commercial, but like tongue in cheek and definitely all on purpose.
And
it
for
was so funny.
for the transit vans you're talking about, like that's what it's for.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like not like the big XL ones. It's like the small.
Yeah, that's
like,
what when
mini transit. ones.
I've put a lot of miles on those because when I worked for the Budweiser wholesaler, that's what we drove.
Yeah.
I do like the transits.
Yeah.
They're not bad at all.
Yeah, it was funny. Like the the part that got me and caught me off guard. There's two parts in it. One, we were like looking through the storage, and Zach had these like cubbies, and you just reached in and you grabbed like a bubbly, and you just like drank it. And I just laughed because like it was so warm. You told me, and then it was like it
Yeah,
was very
it was-
improv too. You just stole his bubbly out of his like compartment. It was probably in there for months.
Dude, it was like warm, like bubbly lava.
Yeah, it's so gross.
It was
And
the
then-
dead summer. We were wearing turtlenecks.
And then the other part was we were talking while we were doing that. We were talking about all the space and storage, and then we opened up the other side of the van, and you're like, "There's so much room." You like opened up the door, and I'm laying there like this. And you're like, "Holy shit! It's a whole man! Like it's a grown man!" Like that cut, like it's 2 seconds, but oh my gosh, that just drops me every time. It's so funny.
Dude, that was.
Well, I'll have to pull it back up after this because it was gold.
So do you think you became a better artist because you have someone like Austin he's always trying to push boundaries, right? And that can be good, that can be bad. So generally you need like one guy who does that, and then you need the other guy to like the straight man to tell him no. So do you think though that like like all the time?
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
yeah.
we spoke about this. I think I know what you're alluding to. Like you grounding Austin a little bit. Is that where you're alluding to? Or
I
no?
mean, yeah, sometimes, but sometimes I feel like
I think it's good for you as well.
no, but sometimes I don't say no. Sometimes I'm like, let's do it. The other day I called him up and I'm like, should we pump the brakes on this post? And he's like, no. And I'm like, you're right, we shouldn't. Let's just rev this bitch up and let's just piss off as many people as we can. So yeah, I'm not always as like the straight man.
but that's
as I
how.
should be,
But you, I think that you are like Wyatt. Like you know the good line. Like
Yeah.
with him, I'd be like, no, we need to do this, and then he'd be like, okay. But then things like we'll never go to the nipple. We'll never push it to the nipple.
I would say yes. To answer your initial question, I think I didn't let you finish. I cut you off.
It was really just like, did that help you grow? Is to have somebody who got you out of your comfort zone?
I think something that's really good is yes. I think that was awesome.
Yeah.
To like jump onto that is like, I think collaborative efforts are the best. Like I think if you can be in a creative community, like I've hired on a couple more creatives back here, and like a creative community is literally the best. You just have like people who are just like firing all cylinders and like thinking of like kind of out there stuff, but then you're able to like do what I did to Austin a lot, and you're just like, maybe we don't do the nipples, bro. Like, but then at the same time, you can like, he pushes me to think outside of the box here or there, and then so I think as far as me, it's like 100%. Yeah, like that was totally helped me grow. But I think any kind of like collaborative or like creative group that you could get into is like super helpful.
I think that's good. Sometimes when you listen to people who are really successful talk, and people say, what advice would you give your younger self? And that can be a hard answer to answer on the spot, I think. But one thing that I think with me that I would have told my younger self would be to do that, to look at the people who are creative around you as a community and make friends with them instead of being jealous. Because what I would do was I had like that limited pie mindset, not knowing that there's unlimited slices of the pie available, right? So if you weren't my friend, then I would be instantly jealous and not like you. Like if I wanted to be in a band and if you wanted to be in a band too, but weren't going to be in my band, then then you were like a competition and I was anti you and I didn't want you to be successful, right? I wish that what I would have done was instead have just been friends with all of them, because you don't get anywhere by locking yourself in and saying like, I'm just going to be better than everybody else. I mean, hey, that's cool, and
that's how you become the Unabomber.
Yeah, you can be. It is good to be competitive, but like the healthy competition that where you raise each other up, right?
Yeah, and I think you can do that, but like you create a lot of enemies, and it's probably
when you
quite
make
a lot
yourself
harder
an isolationist.
And it's probably quite a lot harder to grow. But like I've totally been in that same spot though as like an artist where I'm just like especially younger, like it's a selfish thing that you're coming from of like, I'm better. I can do better. I don't need collaboration because I can do it by myself already.
But I like if I could chime in on this. I think that every you
can't actually. This is me and him now.
Screw collaboration. Cut off.
No, I think that when you're beginning as an artist in whatever field it is, whether it's comedy, whether it's music, whether it's graphic design, no matter what it is, you have to have that initial mindset when you begin. Otherwise, you'll get nowhere. You kind of have to be like, screw everyone else. Like, you have to, you look at those other people in your field and you're like, I'm better than them. I can do it better. Because without that like initial mindset, like you will never get started because it's so hard to get started in any sort of creative field.
Yeah, you do.
So then you do that, and it's like you have to have this like delusion of grandeur going into it, and then as you get better, as you basically force yourself into that field, then you can then you start to go, okay, well now I don't have to be so closed off. Maybe what I think or the way that I am isn't the best. That there are other ways to do this particular art.
I think like that's got to be at your core to some extent. Like regardless, even now still, like if you're wanting to get better at something, you do probably have to have that to some extent.
You have to have your own
there's
drive and self-motivation.
But I guess I could see at the beginning, like...
because I had that too, like starting stand-up, but when I look back and I think, maybe I shouldn't have been like that here, but then I'm like, I don't think that there's any other way.
Yeah, you kind of have
because you have to have that sort of diluted confidence when you're just starting at something and you're just green to even like play, because you're getting into people have, I was going up with comics that have been doing it for 20 years and I was only in it for like 2 years.
Yeah.
So I had to have this kind of weird demented thing like, well, I'm better than them or I can be better than them in order to. Otherwise, if you look at them and go, oh shit, I'm out,
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I would just say trying to learn from them too, rather that, like if you're a high school kid and you're, whether it's music, whether it's art and drawing, if there's a kid in your class who draws better than you, and you have enough self-realization to know that they are better than you, rather than hate that person like I would have done.
Yeah.
I would just ask them, because they, chances are they're going to be cool about it and will give you tips, kind of like what your dad and your brother would do with you. It's not like your dad got like weird and jealous of you drawing and like gave you bad advice, right? I mean, and that's what I mean by like build that community. Just reach out and just be honest about, hey, I need some help with that.
That's actually the superior way.
Yeah.
So if you are listening to this and you're at that stage, definitely do what Matt's saying. But if you're past that stage and you've behaved like we have, then what I'm saying is like, that's okay. Like forgive yourself for that.
I mean, I'll tell you this, and he would probably, he probably would talk about it too. Like when I was in high school, there was a kid named Tim Rhodes, and he always wanted to be in a band. I always wanted to be in a band. And there was even a time where he and I had became friends in high school, but before that we had figured out that we were both secret rivals. Like I still remember this kid being like, dude, you and Tim used to each come up to me, talk bad about each other, right? So now to this day, as we have kids, we're married, Tim's in a band and I'm in a band, and it's so much different now as an adults. We're like, I've had multiple times where like a venue comes to me and they say, hey, can you play this show on this date? And I say, no, my band can't. And then I'll give it to Tim, and I'll reach out to Tim and say, hey, this venue just reached out to me. Do you want to do it? Or if somebody reaches out, I'll say, I can't do it, but this, let me give you a band that probably could. And then, same thing, he'll come to me like, hey, we need to play a show. We need to do this or that together. So, and that's where it actually came full circle, where we went where it was like that toxic rivalry that doesn't help anybody. But yeah, it's so much better now that we're like working together. We're still in different bands. We're still playing a little bit different music, but now it's like a handshake where we are working together.
And you guys are shaking each other's hands going, I'm better than you.
Yeah,
in your mind.
I was going to say, there's like, I feel like that's always still there.
I'm giving you this gig, but know that I would have done the gig better than you.
I love Tim. I can't put myself in that headspace. I love Tim. I can't, because it's like when you listen to Mike Tyson where he's like afraid to box again because he's like, I don't want to put myself in that mental space.
Yeah. Where he's like, I will rape your children. Like, have you ever heard his like horrible, like, whatever you call that,
he
like
said,
shit talking? It's like terrifying.
He, oh yeah. Dude, I used to watch, there's a 15-minute video of just like mashups of him talking, and I used to watch that before I would go to high school every day. That's what I watched before school.
No wonder you were just like,
you
guys are so hateful.
He's like, I want your heart, I'll eat your children. Praise be to Allah.
What high school, man? Was Michelle Pfeiffer there? See a t-shirt, Dangerous Minds?
Oh
shit?
yeah, I watched a lot of Tyson before I went to school, but
that's so
but no, I can't even put myself in that space where I would even say that like, oh, I'm secretly better than him. My mind doesn't go there anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway, like just coming from an adult who's done it, like I said, if you're a younger kid or a high school kid, I would say just ease up on that a little bit. It's good that you have the energy, because you do need some ego to get into create. I mean, it takes some ego to be creative, and especially to show it to people, so you don't want to lose that aspect of it. But like I said, I would just cool it with
the main key to any creative endeavor is just do not give a shit what anyone thinks.
I do think there's that too.
It's weird because
like
then
make what you want to make.
Yep.
Or what you feel. I mean, like take criticism and
don't
stuff like that. Yeah, but put some nipples on it.
Even that's a little bit weird too, though, where it's like, because then if you only make it for you, like if we only make this podcast for us, nobody's gonna like you and I could sit in a room and make each other laugh for 6 hours, but nobody's gonna, you know what I mean? People may not listen to that as much, so it's weird because you do have to you have to do it for yourself, and then you still also kind of have to walk that very thin line of making it presentable to other people,
It's a yin and a yang.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I feel like it also comes with maturity that you're able to do what you were talking about.
Right,
of course.
It like at a younger age, if you are starting those things, like you probably aren't going to be that mature. Like if I think about my maturity level in the past years, I'm only 28, but I know that I've became the most mature in these last 7 years.
Yeah,
I was not mature 22 and under, like, So
I mean, 35 is the key.
Yeah, you
35
think that's
when you're like, I dial it back a little.
Yeah. So
Or just be like me and be super successful before you're 30, and then that way you won't feel the need. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but when do you turn 30?
Yeah.
When do you turn 30?
Oh, I got another year.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, do that. Become super successful before you're 30. Please.
actually.
Yeah.
No, it sounds like a great plan.
I would love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Well, cool. Thanks, Wyatt.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Yeah, we're not that. Yeah. Why? What else do you have to say? Don't let him do that to you.
Or no? I thought you were deep cutting potentially.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah,
not.
I was kind of just messing around.
Yeah, you're just being a dick.
Yeah, don't let
It's
him
fine.
cut you off like that.
No, it's good. We did do that in one of our we interviewed people on our little show that we had, our news thing, and I had an idea, and it's so funny watching it back because you could see my intent and when I had the idea, because then I'm for the last minute that Gabe's talking, not paying attention to what he's saying at all, and I have this little grimace where it just went from actually paying attention to oh yeah, I'm gonna do that here in a second. And as soon as I had the opportunity, we had the phone right here. And we were having a video call and he recorded himself and then we put the video on later.
Yeah.
We didn't have it. We just had a green screen. But as soon as I could, I just was like, okay, thanks, Gabe. And just hung up. And I thought it was so funny to myself that I got so red and just I don't know, so funny. But so I thought that was a deep cut to that.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah,
Just
no,
being a
it kind of
jerk.
was.
yeah, it was actually.
was
After I told you it was a deep cut, you decided it was?
Nah, I was kind of thinking about it.
Oh, okay.
So do you have any a website for yourself or anything to promote or anything?
No, I don't. See, that's the thing is I don't really push a lot of stuff or do anything crazy. I do have an Instagram. I think it's Simonson Art is what it's called. But
What do you post on that usually? Do you post a lot or no?
I just post when I make something more than just some doodles. If I think something's cool and I'm just yeah, I just want to put that on my
Oh, cool.
Instagram. But
Sweet.
I do I've been doing something. I don't know if we're trying to finish it. Sorry, but
No, you're good.
I got asked to be a part of this series at my church where I think this was my third year doing it, but we go over the Psalms in the summer.
Okay.
And so we cover, once a week, just probably do 12 in the summer or something like that. And they've been having artists within our church community draw art for that psalm that's then getting preached over that summer. So
Yeah.
I've been able to do that. The first 2 summers I did 2 a year, and then this last one I just did 1. I have kids now, so I'm
Yeah.
I'll be a part of this, but
Yeah.
anyways, so that's cool. Anytime I finish a project like that, I'm just yeah, I'll put that on my Instagram. Or
That's really cool that the church is. I talk about it all the time and a little bit on this podcast too, and we'll talk about it more in the future. But that Christians should be the most creative, right? Because you worship a creative God. That as Christians, we believe He created everything, so therefore He's the most
He's
creative.
the most creative,
Don't really
yeah.
get more
Yeah.
creative than that.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's awesome because Christian art has. Some of it's awesome, some of it's not. Some of it is, not creative at all. When we would have been in high school, if there was any Christian T-shirts back then, it was a Coca-Cola shirt or something like that, but it just said Jesus or
Jesus Cola?
yeah, or it was
So
I
bad.
remember that.
there
It
was.
was so bad,
Do you remember
yeah.
I
there was
remember the Subway one.
yeah. Or there was the one that I was thinking is the Guitar Hero, but it just said Jesus is my hero. And sometimes stuff like that is kind of funny or whatever, but
Yeah,
then other times
now.
it's just but some of it's not funny and just kind of lazy.
Dude, I remember,
and you're a dork. But
my sister went to this Christian college for a little bit where they made them wear shirts that said Jesus is my superhero and go door to door.
that hurt
that
me
was
to hear
hard.
that.
Pour a 40
See-
out on that.
Yeah. See, now I agree with you though. There's there's some I don't know what it is, but it's just took people to get there longer or something, or there's obviously been art
Yeah.
tied with religion for a long time, but to this extent of this kind of era we live in now. But there's some people in my church who have this clothing brand, and they are doing T-shirts that are Christian shirts and clothing, but they're actually nice
Cool.
looking and cool and
Yeah.
designed in like
Yeah, I'll have to check that. You have to
stuff's
tell me
cool.
about it. Tell me about that later because I'm interested. That there was one called Bear Fruit, and I don't know if they're still around or not. I think you can still buy their shirts, but they were kind of cool.
Yeah.
That was a cool brand.
Is it a bear holding grapes?
It is. It's literally. Have you seen it before?
No.
That's what the logo is.
I just
it looks cool.
imagined
It actually looks cool.
right when that was the first thing
Yeah,
I
Bear
saw.
Fruit. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so
I do think it'd be cool, and maybe I should reach out to those people. But if they had like more, there's kind of, I feel like graphic tees are coming back a little bit, but in an artistic way of like a little tongue in cheek towards like old graphic tees, but also like a lot more like smaller artist based. Like I don't know. So, anyways, the t-shirts these people do, it's a lot of words. It's like mostly word driven and stuff. But like it'd be cool to create some like cool art that could go on a shirt. And it's,
oh, absolutely. That I think a lot about my pastor, knowing that I'm an artist and do different things. Music, a band, or music. Writing books, acting, stuff like that. And he had said to me, he's like, "Does the world need another Christian boy band, or does the world need a boy band that's Christian?" And there is a difference to that. So when I look at this podcast, I don't look at it as necessarily a Christian podcast. I just look at it as two Christians who are doing a podcast. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I think that can shine through. And I like talking to people, honestly, with different beliefs and stuff like that than I do. It doesn't mean that there's Christians who I disagree with some of the stuff they do.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know what I mean?
for
People
sure.
who I know love Jesus and have salvation, and I disagree with a variety of things that they do. And same thing with non-believers, and I definitely don't expect Christian behavior from non-believers, either.
Right.
So, but yeah, as I said, one of the first deep conversations that Austin and I ever had was about Christians and humor. I was like, I think a lot of times Christians are just afraid to take risks, and so and with humor and with comedy, you have to. You can't be afraid. I mean,
That's all it
Yeah.
is.
yeah.
Every joke's a risk.
yeah, and you're
Whether
like,
they'll laugh or they won't. Or
You're
they'll go, "We're not putting the nipples on it."
How can you two boys say you're Christians? You're trying to put nipples on a moose.
Yeah.
now did I die laughing? 100%. In that conversation, there was no not laughing, but eventually there was a line that had to be drawn in the conversation.
Boys are
ended, but,
sick.
like,
Talking about putting nipples on a moose. Dude, Fred Phelps from Westboro Baptist Church. Austin and Wyatt. Couple filthy little perverts putting nipples on moose. Have you ever watched any clips of Fred Phelps? Do you know who
I don't think
Westboro
I
Church
do.
is? They're the ones that would like protest funerals and stuff like that, like pretty horrible people. But when Fred Phelps, the pastor of it, he would always make rant. Have you ever watched him like go off on
Oh,
people?
dude, back
He'd
in the
be
day.
like, "Anderson Cooper, you filthy brute beast." Like it was always old, like literally Old Testament insults is like what he would say.
I mean, I kind of respect that.
yeah, I was gonna say Austin.
I kind of want to go to
likes
the Old Testament because that's what Norm Macdonald would do. Like if you listen to Norm Macdonald, he would always like have like these weird old timey phrases.
Yeah,
that he
yeah.
would put in to his comedy.
Yeah, I mean,
that
don't get me
love.
wrong. I think that they're definitely, it's pretty messed up what they do. But seeing a dude who's like in his 80s screaming and using like Old Testament
Yeah.
slurs,
comical.
language from the Old Testament. Yeah, it is nothing but comical.
He probably has his nipples pierced. That guy for sure. He's one of them.
Yeah.
He's one of them.
one of those kinds of old guys.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. So what's do you want people to follow you on Instagram? You want to shout it out?
Sure, yeah, why not? It's Simonson Art. That's it.
Cool.
All
We'll
right.
put that link in the description. So thank you, everyone, for listening. We got Wyatt here on Tool Shed Art Club. Like and subscribe to keep us alive, talking to other artists, hopefully inspiring you to create art. With that being said, please, like a normal person, just click on the subscribe button. Don't smash it. Just click. It's okay. Yeah, you can touch it depending on what you got. Like a mouse, got the keyboard.
Caress.
Yeah, don't caress it. Don't be weird.
That's what Austin's doing.
Don't caress it. Hey,
It's
don't.
like
I don't want
It's a
them to
kitty.
caress it, but I don't want them to smash it either. So just like a normal person.
This is a
Press.
kitty cat.
I'm a sexy kitten.
Yeah. All right.
Like,
Well, Tool Shed Art Club. Thank you, Wyatt.
yeah,
Thank you
thank
for
you
coming
guys.
on.
This was fun.